What's up, comic fans? It is time for that new comic book day haul. So we're going to share with you all the books I picked up this week right after this. Welcome back. All right. So this week was pretty cool. But before we get into the books, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up if you like the content and comment down below so we can talk about the books coming out this week. All right, so let's get into the books. First, I always have not always, sometimes I pick up something that's not from the current week. And this time we got Iron Man number 17. It's a good old 15 center. Did not pay 15 cents for it. I think I paid like $18 for this guy. Alright, but this is the first appearance of Madame Mask, who is rumored to be heading to the Marvel television universe, the MCU, on a Disney Channel show. This book in high grade probably goes for about $100. In mid grade, which I think this is what this book is, it's $50. So I think at $18, kind of a steal. Don't mind telling you guys how much I paid for it. And yeah, I don't know. I'll run the spine by you. All right, and then there's just like a little crease up here. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, trying something new. We'll see if it plays out on the camera or not. But anyway, got this cool issue of Iron Man number 17. And I mean, even if this wasn't a key issue, just look at that. You got Iron Man just standing over the Tony Stark body, just knocked out. Can only assume that the Iron Man suit just knocked him out. I don't know. It's just an awesome cover. I really like it. And not sure who did the cover, but while we're here, check it out. So let's see. Artist George Tuska. So maybe he did the cover. So, and I'm not sure where Madame Mask appears in this, but what's really cool about these old issues is you do get a lot of these old prize. Join this thing, sell this amount, win this prize, sales club stuff. There's some bullpen stuff in there. Just really cool. And I don't see... Oh, there she is. There's Madame Mask. So, she's in there. But yeah, this was just a cool little pickup at the shop. And I know it's kind of one of those keys that have popped off because of the Marvel television shows on the Disney Channel and such. And when I saw it was more than half of what it's going for on eBay and other places, I was like, I'll pick it up, whatever. And I got a little discount off of it, so sweet. All right, let's move into this week's books. We spent enough time on Iron Man number 17. In case you want one more look at it, pretty cool book, if you ask me. Let's get into the books. We'll stay with Marvel, and this week we had the return of Thor in Thor 15. Donny Cates coming back to Thor. Didn't leave it. Thor was on hiatus for a couple of weeks. Good book. We have Thor. Thor's not happy in this, but he's not mad. He's just remorse. He shows a lot of remorse, or he's just very one note. I really like the book though, because he's coming to the realization that he's now the king of Asgard, and he's not a warrior per se anymore, right? He's the king, and with that, Mjolnir is kind of revolting, I want to say, or playing that rebellious teenager role, right? So Thor, wants to have a conversation with Cap just to talk about his role right now in the future. But Thor is really like, I'm not a warrior, dude. I'm not the hammer anymore. I'm not worthy of this hammer. I'm a king. Might have to step back for a while. But that brings to question, is he going to remain the king? Does he want to continue to be the warrior? And then who's going to take over the king role? Or is he going to transition to the king and we're going to get another new Thor? I don't know. So stay tuned. But I like, it's called Revelations. Revelations start here. That's Thor 15. I like how the story started. I like the whole last series with Donald Blake. A lot of people didn't like the way it ended. I get it. But I like these stories forcing Thor to be more human, or at least have emotion, than just being this god king being that can just destroy everything. All right, next up, we got a book that's not as in-depth. We got Sinister War #1. This is the Kale No variant. I think it's like cover K or something like that. Cover's really cool. Not a horrible book. It's a fun Spider-Man book. You got the Sinister Six in there, and there's some other groups in there. There's basically like 4 other super villain groups in there. You've got the Sinister Six, the Vengeful Six, I guess, or whatever they are, in there as well. There's like the whole Sinister Six female team in there, and there's one other team in there. You got the ones from like the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. That group's in there. Good book, not a great book, but overall, I give it like a solid B minus. I like where it's going. You got Doctor Strange in there, Mephisto as well. So Mephisto's playing a big part in this series too. So it looks like it's going to be interesting. It looks like Spider-Man's going to have it coming from all angles. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not too much, right? Sometimes you can oversaturate with all the different storylines you're trying to put into a book, and hopefully that's not the case with Sinister War. Looks like it has some good beginnings. We'll see where it goes. Kindred obviously is pulling a lot of strings in there, including Dr. Octopus, Doc Ock, or Otto Octavius. He's, as you know, he's been trying to turn over a leaf, but it looks like Kindred's got his claws in him, and a lot of what's happening here is also Doc Ock's fault. All right, last but not least, for Marvel, we got Star Wars: War of the Bounty Hunter. This was a good issue just to tie everything in together of what's happening with all these different tie-ins to War of the Bounty Hunter. But you have Boba Fett show up, and he's at the place where they're ransoming off, or not ransoming, raffling off, or what do you call those? Auctioning off, where they're auctioning off Han Solo, Crimson Dawn, who stole Han Solo in the Carbonite from Mr. Boba Fett. So he's there for revenge. And by the way, this is the B cover. This is the Kamankuli headshot cover. And he's there, and there's a lot of appearances, a lot of guest appearances in this book, all right? You got like some Dr. Aphra going on in there, right? And you got your Boba Fett. And basically, he's there, and he's angry because they stole Han Solo from him, and he's there to get back Han Solo. And at the end of the book, the big bad guy, you know who I'm talking about, the guy who's running this ish, Darth Vader, shows up, and it's like, oh, this book's about to get real. So I like it. Don't read it expecting a lot. There's a lot more talking than action going on, but Boba Fett does do a couple of cool things in there, but things don't go too crazy, okay? There's still a lot of intro as to who the players are in this book, and when Darth Vader steps in the room, boom, you've got almost all the players you need for this to become an explosive series. So Star Wars: War of the Bounty Hunter #2, that's this guy. This is the B cover. Pretty good read if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Boba Fett fan, if you're a Darth Vader fan, if you're a Dr. Aphra fan. Definitely a book you should pick up. All right, next up we got from DC, Batman Detective, I think it's 1039, right? Yep, 1039. And this is the origin of Vile, all right? And I wasn't sure what this character was going to evolve into, but with this character being part of the main story and then the backup story in here. It looks like Vile is here to stay, at least for a little bit. You wouldn't put all this work into Vile to then just get rid of him the next issue. Who knows? I've seen weirder things, but here you go. And Vile, what it is it's like a fungal infection that's taken over this dude. I forget his first name, but his last name is actually Vile. And he works for the mayor's office. He's kind of like an advisor, and it just shows, one, his powers, and then two, his origin, like where he came from. How in both in the main story and the backup story there are origin stories here, but basically he's just been laying in wait. He needs a place where there's a lot of anger, a lot of fighting, a lot of ways that he can just feed off of people and their anger without it appearing out of the norm, right? So I don't think he could live in a place like Smallville, right? Because people were like killing each other and fighting each other all the time. Not so much. It wouldn't work out for him. But in Gotham, he can kind of contain and hide in the shadows, so to speak. And then what it says here is like that it relates to the Joker War. When the Joker War broke out, that was when he could immersify himself into society again and go crazy. So yeah, he just infects people, and then he has those people do his bidding, and those people murder, and he feeds off of that energy. So that is the story of Vile. All right, last but not least, from DC, we have the Joker, issue number 5. This is an interesting book, only because it's not part of the first 4 Jokers. It's not pushing that story forward. This is pushing it back. This is kind of explaining why. It doesn't even explain why, but it's just kind of showing us how Commissioner Gordon is obsessed with the Joker, and how much he just doesn't trust the Joker, how much he doesn't trust how other people can help contain the Joker. Like, he believes the Joker needs to be watched and chained 24/7, can never be left alone, needs constant watching. I don't blame him, but it just shows how obsessed he is with the Joker. It's a pretty cool cover. Really dig the cover. And it was an interesting story, interesting backstory. This goes back in time to when the Joker first kind of gets captured and put into Arkham. But good story. I can't say anything bad about it. It just doesn't really fit into the first 4 issues. And if you thought this would be a book that would push this story forward into the future or into current times, it doesn't do that. It kind of goes back. I guess it's kind of building a Commissioner Gordon backstory for why he's so obsessed with the Joker. And it says right on the cover, everyone remembers the first night in Arkham. And so Commissioner Gordon misses on some other things that he should have handled, which creates a whole bunch of problems, including problems with Harvey Dent, who's the DA at that time in the book during the story. Good story, good book. If you're reading the Joker, you might actually be able to skip this one and still be, when it gets to 6 or whatever, and still be, still be able to follow what's going on, the story arcs. This one is kind of, I think, this might just be biding time between stories, and they just threw that in there while they build the next arc. Who knows? But cool cover. Overall, good book. All right, we're down to our last 2 books. These are the indies from IDW. We got Kanto III, Lionhearted. Love me some Kanto, okay? Let me just keep saying that. This book is for everyone. Anybody can read this, really, all ages. I think this is an all-age book. It's a book with a lot of heart, all right? Kanto has got a lot of heart. It's about bravery. There's a lot of different stories in here, a lot of different themes, motifs. You can use it for a lot of different things. But basically in this story, this feels like the last chapter of Kanto. Kanto is going to finish the Shrouded Man. The Shrouded Man's a guy who's been enslaving people on this world for eons now, ages, and Kanto is this little brave dude who's like, we gotta stop this. And he does it for a lot of different reasons. One of them being for love. And they discuss is love interest in here, and that relates to the very first story, first canto like 1 through 5. Very good book. I recommend picking it up. It's a good read. It's a quick read too. Not that it's not well written or not understandable. It's just there's a certain economy of words, and you get through that book and you're like, that's it? You're like, what did I pay for? But it's still as thick as any other comic book. There's just no way to explain it. It's just a great read. It goes fast, and you want more at the end. All right, last up, we got Never Never number 5. This is from Virus, which is licensed by Heavy Metal. But this is kind of a retelling of Peter Pan. But what if those guys weren't the good guys? What if they were like evil cannibals that were like dictators of Never Never Land, right? And basically the main character we follow in the book, this girl, she's been tricked by these guys to come back to Never Never Land, and then she finds out it's not what they were talking about. It's not that fairy tale. Everything is turned upside down. Nobody can die, but there are ways to definitely torture people. In theory, I guess they could kill you if they burn the body or something like that. It gets really dark. This book gets really dark though. Yeah, it's a really dark telling of Peter Pan. I'm not going to go too far into it. I think on the secondary market it's popped, so if you can find this in your stores, I recommend you grab it. I've seen it going for about $10 or more right now. I paid cover price, found it on the shelf. I won't get too in depth because if you want to read it, I want you to see what this is about. But just know it's a dark, dark telling. Peter Pan is not who you think he is. Not yet anyway. So we'll see how this story goes. We'll see where it goes. But it is a very dark, dark book. Licensed by Heavy Metal, Virus, the publisher. And very cool book to end with that. All right, guys. So my pick of the week for book of the week. Every week this thing comes out. I'm picking Kanto number 3, issue 1. Lionhearted. There is a lot of heart in there. It's a big book. A lot of heart. All right, guys. That's it. That was my comic haul. Thank you for joining me. Remember, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up and comment down below. Do what you do. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to get ready for next week's books. Peace.